today's stars, tomorrow's leaders.
Welcome once again to the Batir Sports Center in Kazan for continuing coverage of the weightlifting Universiade here. The contenders for the men's 77 kilos, and alongside myself, David Goldstrom, Commonwealth Games champion Michaela Breeze. And this an interesting and competitive competition, and you can see also a really big class with 15 lifters, and they need the whole of the 10-meter stage to actually get them there for you to see. But we're going to pick up the action towards the end of the snatch phase, and this is Rasul Tajian of Iran coming in to attempt 157 kilos to take the lead. This will be his second attempt. He's got 153 kilos, and he's one of the major contenders. Entered a total of 361, which is the highest of all the entry totals for this category. A bit of a surprise, because this man has got one of the best competition records here. He's this season's Asian champion, and that's an uncharacteristic miss, I would say, Michaela.
Yes, Tajian has a personal best of 163 kilos, so this should be, you know, well within his comfort zones. You see the frustration on his face there.
And looking as if he's going to follow himself here, because amongst others, Dmitry Khomaikov of Russia, who is the reigning European champion and last season's junior world champion, he's posted for his opener 155, which he's got, but now he's sitting in the wings waiting to see what happens here. And it's really down to these two men in terms of this snatch phase, but of course it's all about winning the Summer Universiade title, and this is the biggest ever FISU Summer Universiade here in Kazan. 27 different sports in 40 venues across this city, the autonomous federation of Tatarstan, of which Kazan is the capital. Now, third attempt, and he needs this. 157 on the bar still.
Much better third attempt. See that that's more a smile of relief, I think. That's quite a big jump. 153 to 157. Needs to, you know, get every kilo that he can now going into the clean and jerk.
As we've commented over the past days here, very interesting to see Iran really developing talent across the weight category range.
Yes, Iran renowned for their super heavyweights. Great to see depth in talent here in the lighter categories. I'm sure we'll see a lot of these lifters in the future going into senior events.
Be interested to see whether one or two of these more successful Iranians, whether they actually can match up and be contenders at World Championship level come October. Remember, Universiade, the standards are a little different between those and the world. The snatch record at Universiade level 151, at world level was 175. Now, Russia, very strong contingent of lifters. The heavier we get, and the more that Russia's contenders come into this. Now, 155 was his first attempt, so this is a decent increase, 5 kilos.
And that's how to snatch. Very dynamic, very fast.
Yeah, just
very stable overhead.
The European champion won that title this season in Albania, and that was in the early part of April. And you can see the Russian coaching team there, which just underlines, Michaela, that, you know, weightlifting, it's all about the lifter, but actually without the team you can't really succeed.
Well, there's so much more to lifting these weights than just being on the platform. There's a whole lot of cat and mouse that goes on behind the scenes. The coach will be involved in running the scoreboard, making sure the lifter is warmed up in time, but also keeping an eye on what all the other athletes, what all the other coaches are doing, because the rules specify that you're allowed to change your starting weights or each attempt no more than twice. So one lifter may increase their weight. You've got to keep an eye on what they're doing, especially when we get to the top end when medals are at stake.
So 160, so he's in command of this, and he'll be thinking now with his third attempt to build, to get away from the rest, to give himself a cushion of advantage going into the clean and jerk, which promises to be pretty competitive looking at the opening weights. And you're absolutely right. You see, you've got one member of the team personally looking after him. You'll have another coach who will have been watching the scoreboard. And with the Russians, such is their strength, they'll have a third one actually looking at the other competitors.
Yeah, Komikov just about to come out now for his third attempt. He's got a personal best of 161. I think the bar's being loaded to 163 here, so this will be a new personal best and a new mark from where he was at the European Championships earlier this year.
Yes, and it's a massive destruction of the previous Universiade snatch record, which was set in Shenzhen, the last summer Universiade. It was held by Agassian of Armenia. That was 151, so if he stretches it to 163, at that point he's 12 kilos short of the world record held by Liu Zhaojun of China, set at the Olympic Games in London last year.
Absolutely, and at just 21 years of age, this lad is improving rapidly, and who knows how far he could go in the next few years.
Yeah, that 12 kilo gap. But of course his eyes again always on the Olympics, where there is only one set of medals available, so you need to balance your achievements. Oh, that's the best of the lot.
Look how hard he's having to work overhead, those arms shaking. He's in control. 3 out of 3. Fantastic.
But that was superb. From the moment that actually left the floor, you just felt so good. And he's really built. He's built in terms of kilos lifted, but he's built also in his performance.
Absolutely. That is a confident lifter just coming off the platform now. He went out there, he knew what shape he was in. Absolutely superb third attempt.
There you can see the weightlifting backstage area, the warm-up room as it's known. And a lot of this equipment actually purchased for the European Championships a couple of years ago here in Kazan, and the facility is very good indeed. Just pretty hard though, lifting in a class of 15. They could have easily adjusted this into a B group or a C group, but there you have it. You can see 163 leads 157, so that's a 6 kilo advantage, and then 155, so Khomikov of Russia with a very useful advantage. Then the Moldovan Pipa and Alimov, but this competition is far from over. The clean and jerk, which is more forgiving for lifting the big weights, next to come.
Today's stars, tomorrow's leaders.
So early stages of the clean and jerk, and the bar up now above the 180 kilos and locking on here. Rozu, Romania. 183, first attempt. And not an auspicious start for a man who following the European Championships back in 2011, was disqualified for a doping infringement, and in fact has only been allowed back into international competition since April of this year. So not a particularly auspicious start for him, and also the fact that Rozu, representing Romania, only bringing forward 151 kilos from the first half of the competition. So at the moment, in terms of the clean and jerk, it's Sultan. This is Mohammed Sultan of Egypt on 182. He is the leader in the early stages of the clean and jerk. Also on that same amount of kilos, Dmitry Khomikov of Russia, the clear leader after the snatch phase. And I thought the 182 that he opened up with was good, but it was a bit on the conservative side.
Yeah, he's got a best of 190, so coming in at 182, you don't know how these warm-ups have gone. You want to get the first one in, you want to make sure that you get a confident lift in on which you can build. You only get 3 attempts, so it's not what you start on, it's what you finish on that's important. He's obviously chosen a 182 because that's the weight that he feels is comfortable for him, but still challenging. So let's see how far he can go.
So Rozu out again now for his second attempt.
Well, first attempt was nowhere near, so he's going to need to dig deep for this one.
He's done this weight before many a time, and that is much better. And 3 white lights from the referees, and that gets him on his way and makes sure that Rozu now has a total.
Yeah, he doesn't look comfortable there, he doesn't look happy coming off. If I'm honest, looking at that, I don't think there's much more there today. Had to work very hard on that clean. The drive only just to arm's length. I think he's going to be struggling with much more.
Yeah, it's a 334 running total. Puts him in the lead, but there's a long way to go in this competition. So, Poland. Now this is Łukasz Krzyk. Poland will be hosting the World Championships this year, 183.
This is a huge increase. 12 kilos up from his first attempt. 171 is the weight he nailed on his second go. This is third and final attempt. Ooh, he's okay.
Yeah, that could have been pretty nasty. This man was top 10 in Europe 2 seasons ago when he was a junior, and he was totaling up 312 was his best to date at this weight category, and he was looking for 320, but he's left on 171 plus 135.
To work very hard on that clean. Ooh, you see now why he's holding that left elbow. That could have been nasty, that. Close to a dislocation by the looks of it, but drop the weight behind. He'll be okay. These lifters are taught how to drop the weight safely. But I think he's going to have some ice on that elbow this evening.
I think it should be Nijat Rahimov to come in next.
Bar's being loaded to 185 kilos. This, I think, is going to be first attempt for
Rahimov. Indeed, it is going to be Rahimov. Azerbaijan, 152 kilos he collected in the first half of the competition.
Well, there's a lot of oscillation on that bar when he stood out of the clean, as the coach is indicating there.
Zlatan Vanev, might have seen him over the past days with the Azerbaijanis. Of course, the Bulgarian Weightlifting Federation, well, Bulgarian weightlifting still in a measure of disarray. They've even got two federations in Bulgaria, which makes life even more confusing. They've got the Bulgarian Weightlifting Federation and the Weightlifting Federation of Bulgaria. And the government supports one, but not necessarily the other, so it's still very factional. And that's really one of the reasons why the likes of Zlatan Banev have found a new home to, you know, pursue their after athletic career as a coach.
Yeah, get out away from the politics and work on producing quality lifters.
And the Azerbaijan with the support. 185 first attempt.
Well, very comfortable opener. The Moldovan lifter, 185 kilos.
Yeah, and that's a good start there by Artem Pipa. Artem Pipa, who in the first half managed to bring forward 155 kilos.
Looking very comfortable on his first attempt.
340 running total for him, so that's putting him in the frame.
Change.
That was the first attempt, so it's a good one to have got home. Just looking at Pipa's record, 155. I mean, he's a man who, as a 69 kilo lifter, was doing 172, 176. So the most recent last year in the IWF President's Cup in Baku in Azerbaijan, he lifted 165. So again, you expect him to go quite a way further, but one or two of these men, I just wonder whether they're going to suffer, Michaela, by, you know, really pushing the number of kilos for that second attempt and again for the third attempt, because that's where you might get the solid lift and get the total secured, but the downside to that is if you're a little bit too conservative, then you make the next two steps that much harder.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys will know what they're capable of. They will rehearse and practice taking big jumps. So at top end, it's not, I don't know, at this body weight, maybe 5-6 kilos is kind of a normal standard jump.
So second attempt here for Igat. So the competition just building now. Representing Thailand.
Second attempt.
I think Lobsy, you see him in picture having nailed that attempt. He's confident now going forwards. He's in the competition, that's the pressure off.
Yeah, Lobsy, again another 69 kilo lifter from last season who's moved up to this 77 kilo class.
Works hard on that clean. Much better second attempt.
No,
wow,
but you saw,
lost it, wasted it.
Yeah, well, you saw the hips go behind, the bar went forward, and with that sort of weight, there's no way back. You're not going to sort of duck crawl underneath that bar.
Oh, that first attempt, he oscillated the bar very badly. You're not actually allowed to do that, which is why the coaches have had a word with him. He came out, steadied himself, just didn't fight to get back under it.
So now under real pressure. Rahimov, just one more attempt. At least he's got some time.
He collapsed with that right leg then.
Third attempt, I'm afraid, goes south. And you can see the disappointment there. So Azerbaijan not having that much success at the moment in this particular weight class.
New weight, 186 kilos, 186 kilogramов.
And the bar going to 186 kilos at the moment.
187 kilos.
And 187 up again.
Ulubek Alimov, Uzbekistan. First attempt.
And it's going to be the first attempt of the Uzbek lifter to come and notice the count. This is Ulubek Alimov, or should be momentarily. There you can see on the right there, and it's counting down 46 seconds, 44 seconds, and it's changed again now.
Moldova. Second attempt. Второй подход.
Yes, it is Andrei Birka of Moldova who's coming in, and the bar at 187, successful at 181, so a 6 kilo increase here. So at the moment he's sitting on 320 as a total, and 320 isn't going to be good enough even if he lifts this. In fact, I beg his pardon, he's on 326. But even these extra 6 kilos are not going to make much difference in the overall chase.
It's a tough clean.
No. It's got one more go. It's interesting, World University Championships last year, and I mean, he did a 179 there, so I suppose he's in the 180s, so he's pushing himself a little bit harder here. 181, I think that was a fair starting first attempt.
He's just using so much energy to stand up out of that clean. He hasn't got anything left for the jerk.
And he's going to have to follow himself, so he's got 2 minutes, but all the time the energy tank is emptying.
2 minutes is so hard to recover from an effort like that, where you're really giving it absolutely everything. He's going to be really struggling to get himself ready for his next attempt. Okay.
So last attempt. This would take him to 332. Now stand up. Better clean.
No drive on that jerk, no drive whatsoever.
So he's left on 326. That's a real disappointment. Alexandru Rosu coming out now.
Andrei Birka, Moldova, third attempt, третий подход.
He's coming out here like he means it. What's even harder to recover from 2 minutes is when there's only one other lifter before you're back out. You can reduce that time even further. You can see he's still out of breath from his previous attempt. Locking onto the bar, hook grip.
Oh, not in his head. Forget about the strength, it wasn't in his head, and I'm afraid that's the end of it for the Moldovan. Interesting while this is all going on at what's in the mind of Dmitry Khomakov, because remember, he came in at 182, which I thought was a bit on the conservative side. And he's actually got 188 now as his next attempt posted.
88 kilos.
Well, this is a big increase. Remember, he's capable of a 190, so the other problem he's had now is he's had to sit in the warm-up room. He may have done 1 or 2 other lifts just to keep his legs ticking over. But
Sergei Zertsov there, the president of the Russian Weightlifting Federation on the left, who was involved in those European Championships a couple of years ago. And in fact, it's the Uzbek who's coming on. And first attempts go before second attempt, so this is why he's out at 188. Animov from Uzbekistan, 5th in this year's Asian Championships when he did 190, totaled up 340, so on paper he's a contender.
Oh, very, very strong in the legs, drove out with aggression.
Very good.
Solid jerk position. He's going to be pleased with that 188. He's in the competition.
And that also picks up on the fact that he had a 154, which was a new personal best in the snatch phase. So he's marching forward rather nicely at the moment.
Yeah, he had a 154 on the snatch, so he's got a few kilos to make up to try and contend with Komyakov of Russia. But I think, you know what, looking at how comfortable and how strong that was, I think this guy's got more to come.
He's on a 342 total at the moment. And here is Komyakov for Russia. Little frown there as he was just getting that magnesium on his hands. Now, just checks that he's got 30 seconds to look at the clock, plenty of time as he locks on. Probably the pre-favourite for this category before we got going. That's better.
Well, that's just extended his lead, his overall lead. It's a fantastic snatch added to this clean and jerk, puts him convincingly in the lead at the moment. He's going to be there now to be shot at and to be chased. The other lifters will see what he's done. They will know what they've got to do. But remember, he's still got 1 attempt remaining.
345 is total at the moment.
Recep, Turkmenistan, 3rd attempt.
And Turkmenistan now represented by Rejepov coming in. Now he only brings forward 150 kilos from the snatch phase. This is last attempt. He's got 180. He's sitting on a total of 330, so this wouldn't get up to the leaders. Well, again, really didn't fancy that, and it wasn't in his head. It's a bit disappointing there for this man, world University Games champion of last season, when he totaled 314. So, although he failed on that 3rd attempt, Michaela, he has moved forward in terms of overall weight lifted.
Yeah, you'd expect that as well with youngsters at this age. He's improving rapidly. Just looking through the scoreboard here, we've got Raimov of Azerbaijan. He's failed his first 2 clean jerks on 185. Hasn't come out for his 3rd on 185, so that's when he's gone up. Bar's at 188. He must be going at least 190 now. He must be taking for his final attempt to try and stay in the competition.
Now this is Sultan Mohammed, or Mohammed Sultan I should say, 189, 2nd attempt,
I really don't know why you've
but only brought forward 148. He's currently on 330 as a running
No,
total.
we don't seem to get much pleasure from it, love.
So this is a 7 kilo increase.
So close but so far. See, he jerked with his hands very, very wide, not very far to move the bar. That's an advantage if you can do that. Holding it on the shoulders is usually very difficult. You see him just holding on to his elbow there. May have tweaked that.
Another bronze medalist from, in his case, Sultan from the Fizhou Championships of 2 years ago in Shenzhen in China, when he was a 69 kilo lifter. Totaled out 312 there 2 years ago, but having moved up, sitting on 330, so it's a measure of success in a couple of seasons. In terms of clean and jerk, the university record, 186, Viktor Karchenko. So Alimov has already dealt with that. And, well, one of the great records set at the European Championships in Trenčín in 2001, Oleg Perepechenov. I do remember that distinctly. It really raised the roof when he lifted 210 kilos. And that's one of the longer records that sat there. It's one of the very few that is a European and a world record at this sort of level.
Yeah, the Asians are coming through now and cleaning the floor really with all the records, so it's great for some of the Europeans to still hold on to some of them.
Well, again, it's the fact that you traditionally saw, particularly the Chinese, at the lighter classes, but now they're extending, so are the Kazakhs. So 189, third attempt.
See him just adjust his hands very wide. Well, the bar went comfortably to arm's length, but just couldn't steady himself, just kept sinking and sinking. The only part of the body allowed to touch the platform are your feet, and he kept going till his knee hit, so it's going to be disappointed with that, you can see it.
Yeah, gets only 330 at the end of the day, and you could, as you rightly said, you could see and feel the disappointment there. He wanted to go just that little bit further. Remember though, waiting in the wings, Tajian of Iran.
In life and sport, dealing with the challenges ahead requires focus.
Interesting stage of the game. Alimov waiting in the wings, same as Khomekov, who's got a third attempt to come. 190, second attempt. But sadly, not an effective one for the Moldovan Artem Pipa. That's a bit of a setback there, I'm afraid. He's sitting on 340, and that would have been 345, and I think that's a crucial miss.
His first attempt was so strong. I mean, this clean he had to work hard for, but you can see the strength is there. Quite a tall lifter. Long arms makes it very difficult. He's got an awful long way to drive that bar to arm's length.
Change. Другой атлет Ниджат Рахимов, Азербайджан.
So, Rakhimov, you were wondering how he was going to play his cards, and Rakhimov, 2 failures at 185, and he's given himself a long time to recover. 190 on the bar. He gets this, he gets a total, and he's going to be in the 340s. This would take him up to 342, but it's really the last chance. He fails, he gets nothing.
Just hope this is not a foolish call by the coaches.
And that's the world of weightlifting. He's just left with his snatch total, but that's not what he came here for. And it ends up pretty disappointingly for him, I have to say.
You know, the best in the world bomb out. It's how they come back, how they learn from those mistakes.
Junior world silver medalist this season, 340, 187 he lifted. Now trying 190, trying to catch up on that third attempt, putting himself under extreme pressure. But I think we can see more of him in the seasons to come.
He's a man on a mission.
Yeah, a bit of a workman-like swagger. Now, Kazakhstan. Kirill Pavlov. 191.
It's an 11 kilo increase.
Not a problem. Hopefully.
Oof. Oof. I'm not sure I'm liking that very much.
Oh, he's strong enough overhead, and he's got
very strong overhead.
And he had the will and desire inside. He had the fire in his belly.
Had the fire in his belly, but the rules specify that the bar's got to move continuously. Cannot stop at any point on the clean. Let's watch the replay and just see what happens when that bar came off his thighs. Did the bar stop or did it keep moving? It's a university record as well.
Indeed. Kato Shinen is the jury president if he wanted to question it. Now, have a look.
I'm not convinced on that. I'd like to see that in a double slow-mo. That was still quite quick, but looked to me like the bar actually stopped dead on his thighs. Credit to the guy, that is very hard to get the bar moving and to generate enough upward momentum to get under it. So, do you think he's happy?
Alexei. Been back to drama school for some more lessons, I think. But he's known around the world for his personality, and now to Thailand.
Obviously for his third and final attempt on 192, 7 kilos up from the 185 which he just nailed. Oh, let's have a sit down.
Well, Lopsy, 22 years of age, entered a total of 320. So let's give him a bit of praise here, because he's actually ended up, Lopsy, on 335. Now that's 15 kilos in excess of his entry total.
Well, that's fantastic achievement.
So you've got to pat him on the back there, and he was going 192, was going to where he's never been before, certainly on a competition stage.
Absolutely, you can see he got loads of lift on the bar there. Drove out very strong. Not quite splitting wide enough, dropping low enough to receive that bar. With these kind of weights, David, you can't push them to arm's length. You've got to be able to drop and catch the weight.
Yeah, and they're philosophical about it. They know they were pushing him into unknown territory. Thailand, perhaps better known for the accomplishments of its women's weightlifting team more than the men's division over the years.
That's it. We still haven't seen Tajian yet.
Now, hang on a second. This is an interesting move here, because you've got the Uzbek. This is Ulubek Alimov coming out. Looked very good on 188. He's going for 193, so a 5 kilo increase here. Now, he's pulling himself right into contention. Sitting on 342.
He needs this. He needs this if he wants to challenge for the top medals. This is a pressurised lift on his second attempt. 10 seconds to go.
Still one man to start.
Wow. That's the most convincing clean and jerk we've seen yet in this competition. That's his second attempt. He's still got one to go. Can he pull this back?
Well, it's always best to have the kilos on the bar. He was only 5th in this year's Asian Championships, so that was 190 at the Asian Championships, and how he's produced 193 to extend the Universiade clean and jerk record again. So this record set 2 years ago was 186. It's being made to look very modest at the moment.
Not sure Komyakov is coming in on for his third and final attempt. 188 he's done. He doesn't need to go crazy here. Well, that was a tough clean.
This is the Moldovan. 193.
He's ended up with a 185 overall on the jerk.
I think what Komyakov is doing, because also Tajian hasn't even started the Iranian, I think what Komyakov is doing is keeping his one attempt to see what happens. And when you saw Sergei Surtsov smile there, any failures now by these men left in the competition are going to make Komakov's task a little bit easier.
Yeah, but Komakov's got 6 kilos lead after the snatch coming into this. In my view, it'd be crazy to go and risk anything now. Let's just get another solid third attempt in and then let the others have all the pressure of trying to catch him. If he risks going too heavy on his third attempt, it's going to be very, very risky.
Well, he's got the 351, so he's the man who's leading at the moment and saying, catch me if you can. And what the Russian's doing is to, well, it just shows you it happens in every sport, the emotion when it just doesn't come off, and it's not weeks, it's months of preparation to come to this point. So, finally, Rasul Tajian to open up on 194. This would take him to 351, equal with Komyakov. Would put him into second place by virtue of his slightly heavier body weight to the Russian. Oh! How strong was that, Michaela?
Very strong. I don't like to correct you, David, but this actually puts him into the lead by virtue of lighter body weight.
I've got Tajian at 76.50. Oh yeah, you're right, and 76.63. I was thinking of the Uzbek Alimov.
Yeah,
but
so
actually you're right, absolutely right. He has taken the lead.
Well, he's shown his cards now. He's playing a very clever game, basically just taking the first attempt that he needs to take the lead. This now puts the pressure back on Komyakov big time. So,
but you can't rule out the Uzbek as well, because the Uzbek
still got one attempt left. He's done 196.
And he's on 351.
He needs a 197, I reckon, now for his third and final attempt to stand a chance.
Yeah. To get up there, he's got to put on at least 4 kilos, the Uzbek, to get up there. Right. Komyakov has decided, and this is not unusual, he's decided that he now needs to put the kilos on, and this is a 7-kilo increase. Now, were he to take this, this would take him to 358.
Just been pushed out of the lead, so this is all or nothing. Third and final attempt. Oh, he's not going to stand with that.
No. And he's left on 351, so arguably, certainly one of the favourites, if not the favourite for this competition before the day started, now knows that the gold is not his.
And again, that brings back the question, did he go too much on his final attempt? Should he have taken a couple of kilos less, had a better chance of getting it and extending his lead further? Well, he's guaranteed at least a medal. The question is what colour?
Or should he have started a little bit higher, which would have made that a little bit easier to perhaps not go that far, having to go that far, because he could have built his kilos. But anyway, that's all conjecture now. So Kazakhstan, and this is Kirill Pavlov, and he's going for a 5-kilo increase. Now, if he gets this, it's only going to take him to 347.
Very fast underneath the bar. Adjusts his hand to make the jerk easier.
No, and he would have led the clean and jerk had he managed to do that.
неудачно. 197 килограммов вес штанги.
347 would have been a new personal best. He's already got a new personal best in terms of the clean and jerk by 1 kilo. So it was, I think this was well measured what he was trying to do here, but on this day, not possible. And that's going to leave him out of the medals. Down in 4th place. Well, Khomikov has paid all his cards, 351. Tazhian sitting on 351. And Alimov, the other man who could come into this with his last attempt, representing Uzbekistan, 4 kilos to take him up to 351. And again, by lighter body weight, this would take him ahead of Khomikov, push Khomikov mathematically down to 3rd.
This will also put him ahead of Tazhian.
Yeah.
This will put him in the lead. He wants this, he's working hard for it. So strong overhead, look at that smile. He is in the lead, can he be caught?
And you know what? He deserves to be. 6 out of 6, Michaela.
What more can you ask for as an athlete going into something like this, to be pushing yourself to the limit? If you can come away with 6 out of 6 personal bests, it's a good day in the office.
And that's, of course, 197, so a new Universiade clean and jerk record. But again,
and just looking at this, 187 was his previous best. That's 10 kilos up on the best that he's recorded in competition.
But it's still 13 kilos short of the world record, which makes Perepechenov. You try and put that in your head, Michaela. 210 kilos on the clean and jerk. All those years ago in Trenčín in Slovakia.
So, bring back the memories, eh?
Right. Well, Khomikov's finished. Alimov's finished. It's all down to the Iranian Rasul Tazhian. This would take him to 355 because he's put 4 more kilos on the bar. It's his 2nd attempt. This is for victory. This is for the gold. 15 seconds approaching.
Oh, did not steady himself at all, but look how strong he is. That's a gold medal winning lift. 26
years of age, and he puts himself to 355. Now remember, when he won the Asian Championships this season, 366.
It's just superb. He's won that with one attempt still to go. The question is, will he bother taking his 3rd and final attempt, or will he leave it there?
Why would you? I mean,
watch this. Stands up out of the clean. No rest. My only criticism on that is the bar's oscillating quite a lot, but hey ho, that is a strong clean and jerk.
People don't understand the oscillation.
So when the bar's on the shoulders, you can see the bar whipping, so bending on either side. The athletes use that to their advantage to be able to, if they can get the dip and the drive timed to perfection with the oscillation, the bar will whip up very comfortably. However, it's not allowed.
That's what I was waiting for you to say. Well, Iran take the gold, Uzbekistan the silver, Russia the bronze. So congratulations to Rasul Tazhian. 157 snatch, 198. Only 5 lifts used for a total of 355. The silver going to Ulugбек Alimov. Huge improvement there. 6 out of 6, 351. And by lighter body weight, denying Dmitry Khomikov, the reigning European champion of this year. He settles for bronze there. And you can see the first 3 well away from the rest. Hope you've enjoyed the action. Michaela Breeze and myself, David Goldstrom, will be back tomorrow with the 85 kilo competition. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to your company in Kazan in 24 hours from now. For now, though, bye-bye from Tatarstan.